Okay, campers, rise and
Want to
shine.
talk about it now?
God,
Don't forget your booty, because it's cold out there today. This is episode 23 of the Games Only podcast. I am your host, Puxatony Phil. To my east.
And today is Groundhog Day!
Yeah, put your little head in my... To my east, the man relived today. Yep. Over and over again. It's Bill Connors.
Hi.
And to my south and west.
Hello!
Fantastic. The man who sells life insurance, Ned Ryerson.
Phil? Phil Connors? I thought that
Ned.
was you.
Thanks for watching. Bing! Alright.
And
whistling belly button trick in high school. Bing, bing.
so we're going to have to repeat this again, right?
Yes, the whole thing over again. No, this is episode 23 of the Games Only podcast. Let's talk about games. God damn it. Every time. Let's talk about games. There was a big release this week. Final Fantasy.
Big release.
The new hotness.
The new hotness, Final Fantasy 13-2.
Final Fantasy 13-2. Bing!
Or XIII-2, because that makes
Well, it's all
sense.
one big crapshoot anyhow.
Because there's no Romans left to read those numbers anyway.
Why wouldn't you do Roman numerals followed by Arabic? Anyway, I believe both my co-hosts have been playing Final Fantasy 13-2 this week.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it, and I didn't go to the midnight release, but I stopped in before midnight just to see the nerds, and that was fun.
Okay, so Sonny...
He's a nerd watcher. He likes the smell.
I'm a nerd watcher. Let the nerds go by. My.
He just sits in his car in front of the GameStop for a few hours every single day.
Now, here's what happened. I stopped by to finish paying off the game because my roommate works at GameStop, and I said to her, can you bring it home because I'm not going to be awake at midnight? So I went and paid it off. And, of course, I'm a petty person, so I was like, I want to see the nerds. So I walk in, and I see 4 fat dudes sitting on the ground, and that's it. And they're talking about magic cards. I go, okay, this could be a normal day. No, they were 4 of the 6 pre-orders Final Fantasy 13-2 had.
Whoa.
So you were one of the 6, along with those 4 gelatinous blobs.
Yeah. So, and this was for the regular version. They also had, I believe, 5 pre-orders for the collector's edition. So, 11.
Then how many did Modern Warfare 3 get?
Way over 1,000.
Yeah, we should note that Blue's GameStop is a busy GameStop. It's not like 11 is the norm for pre-order.
But it's also a typical suburban city. I mean, there's nothing special. It's not like we're in some little cow town out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he's not in Topeka, Kansas.
It's your typical suburb.
Right.
It's not a hole in the wall. So it's not that it gets no business, and it's not that it gets as much as a major metropolitan area would, but yeah, 11 pre-orders.
Yeah, we use it because it's a good slice of kind of
Americana.
Yes. So
it's kind of like Memphis.
Okay, so I guess
Memphis. Sorry.
Wow.
So
I guess
I decided to go the Amazon route because I don't like waiting in stores.
Well, you also got $20 credit, didn't you?
I think I only got 10 because the $20 was after it was released. It was on that Tuesday, so I got $10.
That's what you get for being an early adopter. Yeah. Did you get it on PS3 or 360?
I did get it on PS3 for prosperity's sake because I have the original on PS3 as well.
That's exactly why I did it. That plus I wanted to see the movies without looking shitty.
Ah, why they de-res the movies for the 360?
Yeah, they here there's artifacting, and this was the same way in Final Fantasy 13, the initial one as well. They just look kind of like boot compared to the PS3s, which PS3 was. I mean, they look fantastic. What do you expect? Blu-ray.
So, that's power Blu-ray, guys.
I know somebody mentioned that the 360 version's only on 1 disc as opposed to the original Final Fantasy 13, which was on like 3 discs or something crazy like that.
Yeah, really, really weird, isn't it? Very strange.
Okay, so both on PS3.
Yep, fanboys, you know.
Right. How far have you guys gotten so far?
Final Fantasy belongs on Sony systems. Never mind that it first came out on the Nintendo and then the Super Nintendo. It's always been on Sony because I played Final Fantasy VII and that game is the greatest.
That sounds like a pretty sane argument to me.
Yeah, not my argument, but
that wasn't your voice. That's right. When you do that strange voice, it's no longer.
I'm about 6 hours in.
Okay.
I'd say I'm about 10. I want to say.
Okay.
How are you not further than I am?
What?
Nothing.
I'm 10 hours in.
Okay, so talk about your experience so far. How's the game? Yeah, is it? I know it's not as kind of tunnel-y, if I can use that weird adjective, as Final Fantasy XIII kind of led you down corridors. And I've heard.
I think the word you may be looking for is maybe restrictive.
Okay.
It doesn't shoehorn you into the story too much.
Okay.
I mean, it still has the same horrible JRPG tropes of, nope, you got to go through this sort of tutorial first while you listen to all this exposition, and that is a shame. But what do you expect? It's a JRPG. I take it for what it is. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy JRPGs in general. But yeah, I mean, the game itself, once it opens up and you can do what you want to do, is nice. You're looking around the world for fragments. And this is not a very big spoiler at all because the tagline for the game is change the future. So you may be traveling in time to change the future.
What?
Exactly. And that means that you're going to end up in different times in different places. However, the cool thing is you can move however you want, as long as you fulfill requirements to get to other places.
Yeah, I didn't play the demo at all, and I didn't actually know much about this game to begin with. I just knew I was going to play it, so why not go ahead and pre-order it? And anything that has to do with time in an RPG, I'm a big sucker for, so I was very, very happy they decided to go the time route. Because, I mean, the last RPG that I really liked was that dealt with time and going back and affecting things was Chrono Trigger back on the SNES.
Yeah.
And this kind of feels like that in a way.
It feels a lot like that, and feels like it's a bit more robust. And also Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger sequel on the PS1. So I'm very happy Square decided to revisit that topic because it's a lot of fun you could play with.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I've recently played Chrono Trigger and I liked it a lot. If I'm interested in this one, do I have to have played 13?
It would have helped, but the thing is, everything that happened in 13 is kind of referenced as basically one event in the past that they do go over quite a bit, and you can get a good sense of what it is. So I would say, no, you don't need to play the first, but it will help if you do.
And at the very start menu, before you even start a new game, there is an option to read through what happened in Final Fantasy XIII. They have every single chapter marked off, and you could read a synopsis of everything that happened. So it's not completely necessary.
Are these the same characters, or do you meet the same characters, or like how does that relationship work with the previous game?
The main character in the game is a girl named Sarah, and she is the sister to one of the main protagonists from the original.
Okay.
In the original game, she was kind of not really an afterthought, but she was not a major character, but she did have some background.
Okay. So yeah, talk a little bit about your experience so far. It sounds like the tutorial is lengthy, so maybe you're not as far into it as...
I didn't find the tutorial terribly difficult or,
It's
erroneous.
about an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. So you've both got at least 5 hours of... Or 4 or 5 hours of...
We played the real game.
Okay.
We're knee deep.
We're in
shit.
All right, so talk.
We're at the point where they don't give you tutorials when a new menu pops up anymore.
Yeah, I mean, just when I thought we were out, they dragged us back in. No.
Back in.
And there is an option every time there's a tutorial. You can say, no, I don't need to see it. So I, of course, wanted the refresher, so I went through all the tutorials. And then they also don't, really go into heavy with the leveling system. It's kind of complicated, and they breeze over it very quickly. And they say if you need more help, consult the data log in the menu, which is kind of like a codex in all the other games in which they just kind of describe things. So they don't tell you everything and hold your hand and go through all the menus and explain. They just say, hey, if you need to know more, it's in this menu.
Thank God, because let me tell you what I hate. I hate RPGs that will say, first you'll need to select magic, and then you have to manually do that.
Select magic,
and it will say, now move your cursor to cure. Why don't they just skip through this? I understand.
Yeah, they did that a bit in this game, but it wasn't like every single option you had to explore. They kind of just gave you a brief synopsis and then said, hey, check this out if you need more help.
Now, the real star of this game so far is the fantastic battle system, which is almost entirely intact from the previous game, so if you did play the previous game, you will feel right at home, but you will notice that there are a few little additions that make things a little bit more interesting for you, and I don't want to get too deep into what those exactly are, but it gives you a lot more options as a party on how you want to level, and you have an empty slot, a third slot.
Don't worry, I'll spoil it for everybody else, so...
Spoil what?
What your vague ideas are about not spoiling things. The third slot is for a monster.
I was going to say.
Well, you were saying I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. There's this third vague spot that could possibly be good.
Well, I didn't want to waste anyone's time.
Oh.
I didn't want to say, well,
And also, the party has an empty place.
So, bickering married couple, the third slot is for a monster of some kind?
Yeah, you can collect monsters like a Pokemon.
Just like a Pokemon.
Happy? It's a Pokemon.
Yeah,
right?
that's awesome. How easy or difficult is it to switch those? Can you switch those in fight, or do you roll with one monster?
You basically pick 3 monsters that you want to have on a rotation, and they all have different roles. Mm-hmm. And you can fulfill them and swap them out at will, and you're basically, in battle, you're using 3 of your monsters. Mm-hmm. Swapping between the 3, and outside of it, you can mix and match to your heart's content.
Okay, cool.
For instance, I have a little furry thing in a sleeping bag that floats, and it heals people.
Oh.
I get one that's better.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It does look like a little
floats.
furry thing in a sleeping bag.
It's a little sleeping bag. It's not one of those mummy bags. It's a normal sleeping bag. But, he floats around. He does his little healing. But the day I say, you know what, I don't need this dude, I'm going to replace him with the sweet dragon, I go with the sweet dragon.
Oh, man.
It's really...
I gotta get me a sweet dragon.
You don't have to do anything crazy to capture new monsters. As you fight them in your random battles that you can run away from, there's a chance that you will obtain the monster after the fight.
And there's different ways to up the chance of collecting one. So if you see one you really like, you can have the option to try and get it a little bit harder. But this battle, is it just me, Sonny, or does this seem a little bit faster than the Final Fantasy XIII battle system?
I was going to say, if anything, it feels slower.
Really? It might be because I haven't played it in a while, and that was a really fast pace.
I'm used to the end game.
Oh,
I'm used to the end game of 13, so that could be part of it.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's really jarring for people who've never played either one of the games, obviously, to get used to that battle system, because it's not about choosing what you want to do as much as it is funneling the choices for your characters and how to swap out between their different abilities.
You're essentially just setting priorities, and your characters handle everything else. It's kind of like a meta battle system as opposed to sitting there and just picking every single option.
And honestly, the opposite of that, if you were choosing everything on your own, would be a dog shit battle system and no fun whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, there is a way you can choose every single action if you want to.
It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's way too fast paced, and it would take way too damn long.
Yeah, and there was a huge outcry when 13 first came out. People were saying, "Wait a minute, you get all your health back at the end of every fight? Where's the challenge?" Oh, it's there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it doesn't penalize you so bad. If you lose a battle, you just retry it. Not a big deal. You can start it over if you're doing a real shitty job.
Yeah, you can start it over from right at the beginning of the battle. It's not like you're kicked back to a save point. What about save points in this game?
Speaking of save points, autosave, buddy.
Yes, there's autosave.
Ain't it beautiful?
And you have the option to manually save if you want to at any point in the game.
Except inside of a battle.
Except inside of a battle, yes. So not exactly like Resonance of Fate, in which you can actually save in the middle of a battle.
Right. So yeah, that's really good for grown-ass people who maybe have to leave. Might be a surprise. Oh, I gotta go to work. No problem. Hit start, you gotta save. Beautiful thing. So it's really streamlined. However, the game seems to want to be a bunch of different genres as well, which is the monster collecting and puzzles.
Yeah, there's some puzzles in this game. The second I saw a puzzle, I'm like, Sonny's going to be pissed.
Second I saw a puzzle, I got pissed.
And I really thought it was an optional puzzle, too. And I was like, let me see if I can't go this other route and see if I can handle it. Yeah. No, it's pretty much a mandatory puzzle.
Now, are these the puzzles from the demo where you can only touch one panel and then it falls?
That's one of the puzzles.
Oh, there are multiple kinds of puzzles.
I've hit 2 different styles of puzzles so far.
Fantastic.
So far, I've seen 2.
Okay, so describe the 2 different styles of puzzles for those who do not know.
The first type is the simple, as you walk, the floor falls out from behind you, but you must touch these places before you can get to the end, so you don't want to double back on your steps. Bullshit puzzle. Uh-huh. Hate it. Hated it.
Yeah.
The other one is you have crystals on a checkerboard grid, basically, that you have to connect while they're the same color quickly.
And they form a constellation of some sorts. And...
Yeah, I really don't like it. Like, if they get much harder, I'm going to be pissed.
Is that
because I beat them?
Well, they're not terribly difficult, but they're there for no real freaking reason.
No good reason.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't mind if it was optional, but the fact that it's part of the story kind of turned me off of it.
There is a give up option. Does that do the puzzle for you? Does that just kick you back out to right before you do the puzzle?
I don't know. I was scared that if I hit give up, it would spit me out of the title screen.
I wanted to try that to see what would happen, but I didn't.
Yeah. Huh. So, there's puzzles in there for no apparent good goddamn reason.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But you have to fix the time paradox. That's why they're there.
It's also got quick time events in some boss fights. However, it handles them fairly gracefully. There's never too many in a row, and it always warns you on the screen before you're going to get the quick time event, which is great. I remember in Resident Evil 4, I was watching a cinematic. I was scratching my balls, and all of a sudden the indicator came up on the screen, and I cut my nutsack.
Then this
pulling
is
my
why
hands out of my pants so quickly.
Things.
Yeah, it caught me by surprise, but I didn't want to get hit by that barrel.
No, I think with the quick time events for the cinematics during boss fights is what Square and Final Fantasy wanted to do from the get-go, when they started actually doing cinematics, because now it's actually interactive. They always wanted this type of cinematic battle system with like the big grandiose summons and everything like that. And now they actually have the opportunity to go ahead and fulfill it. So I think
I will say with the UI they did a good job because it's never in the way of the action that's going on the screen. I never feel like I'm having to concentrate on a tiny little spot waiting for it to come up.
Yeah, so and it's never in like some bizarre place. Like usually if I have to hit the left analog stick, that will pop up on the left-hand side of the screen. It's not like it'll pop up like in the right-hand corner and mess your whole brain up.
Okay. And it's not unusual like Space Marines, final boss. The first QuickTime event you see in the entire game is the final boss fight. It's not like that.
So these are throughout.
Yes, they are. And the game looks really pretty too. So it's nice to see pretty QTEs.
Yeah, that the demos was very beautiful. Do you think there's a significant difference between PS3 and 360 in terms of the gameplay beauty? Like, I know we talked a little bit about cinematics and being on Blu-ray and not being compressed, etc. Do you think the gameplay is actually?
I did some research on this, and apparently the 360 drops in neighborhood of 1 to 4 frames every once in a while. Which there's already frame drops anyway.
It drops 1 to 4 frames less, or it drops to like 1 frame per second.
It did not get that bad for me.
All right. No,
that might be a problem. You may need to.
No, I thought you meant that for the 360. I was like, holy shit! I didn't really see any frame rate drop or anything erroneous.
Yeah, I mean it's really slight. You can't lose. Either way is fine. I mean, you're not going to lose. Get the 360 version. By the way, $20 credit HP. You can get it for $39 basically in the future.
Sounds good.
I think you would really like it because of the monster collecting and the fact that the game does not give you a really harsh penalty for failing at anything. Not that I'm saying you're going to fail everything, but I know that games get really frustrating when they punish you really hard and make you redo things. This doesn't do much of that.
Well, that's good.
I mean, the only main problem I have with the game, which is a Final Fantasy staple now, is that they really throw the story like in your face right at the beginning and don't explain what's going on at all. And you kind of have to...
Some kind of questionable character actions, too.
Yeah, you kind of just have to piece everything together and hope you get it right, because they really don't explain a damn thing.
Like I was talking to someone, and the idea is that you go through time and you solve these problems, because 2 timelines are getting smushed together, things like that. And someone finally says to my character, "Oh, it must be so cool to be you. If you find a time you like, you can just stay there forever."
Yep.
And my character was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." And I was like, "Bitch, that was the first thing I thought of."
Well, she's too worried about saving her sister or whatever she has to do.
Whatever. I will say, though, that it was at least a reasonable, as far as story plot points go, a way to make sure that the sequel has, merit. Like, it's a story that could certainly be told, and it didn't feel as tacked on as, other games.
Yeah,
made.
because at the end of almost every Final Fantasy game, we saved the world, everything is great.
Let's make children.
Yeah, I mean, with the addition of Final Fantasy X-2, the sequel to Final Fantasy X, it was still like everything was great in the world, everything's fine, and the main character just wanted to go off on an adventure. That was essentially the basis behind that game, the story behind that game, and it was a terrible story. With this one, it actually feels like it has some merit, and it makes sense once you get through a lot of the confusion. Because when I first booted up, man, I was confused about what the hell was going on. And they drop words that are from the Final Fantasy and other RPGs always like to use get inspiration from other mythologies. So they drop like words like Valhalla and stuff like that from Norse mythology, and you're stuck thinking, well, I know what Valhalla is. Are they just using that word, or is it actually that place? And you're really confused by the end of it. But no, I'm having...
So, we were mentioning, I mean, are you enjoying your time with it, Doc?
I am. I'm enjoying it very much.
Oh, good.
How do you like the dialogue system, Sonny? Because when they ask you a question, you have 4 options most of the time, and then you can't go back and,
Yeah, and in an RPG, that's a pretty big thing, because you can't just simply replay the spot that you were at. But there is a system in the game that'll let you go back to before the events that you did in that time, so you can effectively replay each level. But the dialogue, I mean, it's a nice touch, but so far it hasn't dropped any serious bombs on me. Yeah,
like sometimes when you have to ask a person a question, you only have the option to ask 1 out of the 4, and it doesn't go back, which is nice for flow. You don't have to stop, go back, okay, let me ask this question now and see if something's different. It's just a conversation, and it keeps moving. It's not something that you have to hear, I don't know where the children are this morning. Did you have a question about the children? Every single time. Yeah, and I also like that they... I also like how a lot of RPGs you can ask, like, everybody in the game, you talk to them. And sometimes they say stupid things like, hello! Or like a ... or something like that. And all of the bullshit dialogue options for talking to just random nobody NPCs on the side are actually done in-game without stopping it. Like, I'll walk by somebody and he'll, ask, a simple question like, oh, how you liking this or that? And my character will reply, but I'll just keep walking. So it doesn't slow the game down at all. I don't have to sit there and wait and talk, oh, yeah, finish this dialogue, and then go on.
Oh, that's very nice.
So I really like how they handle it, especially since in Final Fantasy XIII there was, like, nobody you could talk to at all. So. Yeah, the exploration of these HD towns, as they were referred to in Final Fantasy XIII, since we can't do HD towns, it was an obvious lie. It's nice. It is very nice.
I'm sorry.
HP. Oh, did you have a question about it?
I was gonna go tangentially. What's your question?
My question was going to be, we talked about how Final Fantasy XIII-2, I still hate the name, but you're going to do, how it's very forgiving when you fail. But from what I hear, you've been not so forgiving to another game. What's up with what's up with your Dark Souls experience?
You want to switch already? Okay, that's fine.
I mean, unless Doc had anything else he wanted to say.
I might bring it up later. I don't know. Nothing's jumping out at me right now.
We'll do a comparison between the two games.
Yeah, no there's no comparison.
So, HP, last week you had some choice words for Dark Souls about how it maybe wasn't doing it for you. Some people maybe called you less than.
They called you a bitch.
Great.
Less than somebody like me who has broad horizons and appreciates.
They called you worse than Sunflower. That's an insult.
Wow.
They didn't call you worse than me. You just couldn't live up to. Anyway, have you still been playing Dark Souls? And if so, has anything changed?
I have. I've put some more time into it with friend of the show, Locke Vincent, and yeah, I guess I still don't understand why the comparisons to Skyrim are so readily made by so many people that you can either like one or like the other, and if you like one and not the other, you're somehow an idiot.
I think it's because they came out around the same time.
They came out around the same time, and they both have dragons, but they are so vastly different games. It's unbelievable. So I believe
you know they're going to pick apart that argument right there, and they'll be like, "Yeah, they sure are different, aren't they?" And you're like, "Hold on."
It's just the fact that people that like Dark Souls, they really love it, and they're like, "Well, how can somebody love Skyrim that much and shit on this game?" That's how it is. Like, how can somebody hate NBA 2K11 but love Madden? I don't understand it. You know, that type of.
But is this HP taking the third option, and is he going to say he loves them both?
I don't. So right. So
I'm avoiding the question. All right.
Locke mentioned. I'll get there, honey. Locke mentioned buying into kind of the meta game of this. So approaching this game like I approach Skyrim, where I'm into the story and I'm involved in the world. I'm allowing myself to just be totally encased in the world. That's not the right word, but
just to be a blacksmith if you want to be a blacksmith.
That doesn't work for Dark Souls at all. I am painfully aware that it is a video game at every second. There's not a single second where I'm in the world, just enjoying the world. So
you're not escaping like you did with Skyrim.
Right. There's no escapism in this game.
I remember when you were talking about Skyrim, hours would just melt off.
Right. And I think that's one of the reasons I liked Skyrim. I was looking for escapism. I was looking for a story that would enthrall me in a way that allowed me to escape. And that's so far, there's still not a whole lot of story in Dark Souls. There's all this stuff that people tell me about the story, but you get about 20 seconds of very poor dialogue, very poorly done.
A lot of the story is given through item descriptions, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. But.
So approaching it like I would approach Skyrim is wrong. You cannot approach this game like you would approach a game like Skyrim. You have to approach it more like, and I'm going to apologize in advance for the awkward comparison. It is more like Call of Duty than Skyrim. It is.
Huh?
It is a multiplayer game with a multiplayer focus, and it just so happens to be an RPG where you're supposed to enjoy the world.
That may be how you're playing it. I didn't play much multiplayer in Dark Souls, so it just might be how you're going up against the game.
In like 6 hours, I've been invaded 4 times.
Oh my goodness!
Sweet. Awesome.
I'm sorry.
Does it feel awesome?
No. Well, so here's the first time I was like, "Holy shit, I'm being invaded!" And it was on the bridge by the dragon. So I ran towards the dragon because I was like, nobody's going to be fucking dumb enough to follow me. And the dragon ended up blowing fire on me and killing me. But the dude didn't even hit me. Like, he got no satisfaction out of it at all because I just
now you're thinking, because that's how you have to handle it. Like, well,
right.
That's the
You're not
metagame.
going to kill me. I'm going to jump off this fucking
Right,
cliff.
you have to start playing. You have to play the metagame, and that's in general not.
Dude, you know what? That is exactly how I would play Madden with my friends. If they got 2 touchdowns on me, I just lay the controller down and be like, "Go ahead, keep scoring. I hope they feel good."
I keep doing draw plays up the middle.
I'll punt on first down. I don't give a fuck.
Metagames are not what appeal to me about games. Regardless, so there was that, and then the second time was after I had summoned Locke, and then I was summoning one of the NPCs for a boss battle, and literally the guy invading showed up right where we were and cast some kind of fire spell and killed us kind of before I knew what was going on. And that didn't bother me at all. That just seemed really stupid.
That's kind of a bummer.
If that makes any sense. Like, I wasn't upset because I knew exactly where, all my stuff was. It was just more of a thing like, okay, now Locke and I have to find each other again. Now we have to make our way back again.
See, there are 2 different types of invasion in the game. There's invasion by a player, and then there's invasion by an NPC. And normally when they pop up like right fucking next to you, that's an NPC. So you do have to pay attention to that because it's a lot easier to fight an NPC. You fight it like a normal monster than an actual human that can play mind games with you.
Was it Black Knight Kirk who invaded?
I have no idea. It literally killed me before I knew what was going on.
It may have been some lag. That sucks.
Yeah, and then the third time, I actually gave the guy a pretty good fight. I feel pretty good about it. It took him about 5 minutes to kill me.
Good.
And then the fourth time, I had actually already summoned Locke, and we ended up killing the guy very quickly.
Yeah. Feels good, man.
I guess I would prefer not to be invaded. That's not...
You need to think of this like someone breaking into your home. You know what? The 3 times you lost, that's like someone broke into your home, stole all your shit, and killed you while you were
they
sleeping.
stole your VCR, man.
And then the time that you got rid of him, you basically let the guy come into your house, you beat him like a dog, and he ran away. That shit feels good.
Sure. Sure. I guess I get very little, if any, satisfaction out of that in general in games.
So your heart doesn't start beating crazy when you see you were invaded? You're not, oh, God, where's the best place for me to go?
Start sweating.
Not really. I'm more annoyed than anything, because I would just like to play with my friend and fight bosses. Like, that would be satisfying enough to me. But by the third time I had bought those indictment things, you know what I'm talking about?
You banish a soul from your world.
Well,
no, the ones where you put them on a list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had invested in those, so that guy who killed me after about 5 minutes is on a list somewhere. That
he even gave you a good fight. You did that too.
Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it?
Yep. Don't invite. Yeah. See, that's when I become the homeowner. Don't invade my fucking world, or you're gonna get on that list. The end.
Or every time your little minivan comes through the neighborhood, we're all going to.
Yeah, man. I got the ADT security sign put up in my front yard. We're all set.
Yeah. So, if one views this game in terms of the metagame, it's a lot more satisfying. But it's again, I don't understand the comparison to Skyrim because there's so much more story and escapism in that game, and for the most part, that's why I play games.
I was playing Skyrim at the beginning of the week, waiting for Final Fantasy to come, and yeah, I was like, I need to waste like 6 hours. Let's go ahead and play some Skyrim because I won't be progressing or anything like that, and I did, and I'm the king of the Thieves Guild, and feels good. But
oh, nice.
Other than that, it's like I hit 20,000 gamer score because I killed a dragon. It's like, oh, that's cool, but still, the games are 2 completely different games.
What were you going to ask me, Sonny?
Are you going to, when you're able to, are you going to invade other people?
No.
Why?
That doesn't appeal to me.
You don't want to know what it's like? You don't want to be the robber in the neighborhood?
You don't want to jam somebody up
Not really.
Aren't you curious?
Literally does not appeal to me in any way.
See, man, I love the mind games. Someone invaded me there at the very end of my game, and I was like, great, getting invaded, and I was on my way to beating the game, and this guy comes here, and I see him, and I go, you know what? He'll probably crap his pants if I charge at him. And I ran straight towards him, and you could see, like, he was doing a little jog towards me. Then all of a sudden he stops, and he starts getting a little nervous and starts, like, dancing around, maybe backing off a little bit.
His shield's up.
He invaded me, and I'm like, come on!
Yeah, if somebody invades, you can really do, like, 2 minutes of dancing before you even hit anybody.
It's kind of like if you're in a darkened, alleyway, and someone's like, give me your wallet. You turn around, they're like 5'2", and you're like, you want my wallet?
Yeah,
good, man.
So right, right. This game requires a completely different mindset in terms of how I approach it than I was approaching it, because the comparisons, for some reason, are so readily available between this and Skyrim, and the more I play a Dark Souls, the less I understand the comparison.
Anybody that gives comparisons between those games, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
There's only one comparison that needs to be made. It was HP's Game of the Year, and the other one was my Game of the Year.
Right, and they're both very good games, unless you're playing Skyrim on the PS3, and then that's a piece of shit.
They're two different style games, and they appeal to certain people.
Right, and
forget about all that. Do you still like the architecture? Do you still like the stage layouts? Have you seen anything that you think is, wow, that's a really cool idea?
What was the coolest thing you've seen so far?
Well, maybe, well...
Not the vagina dragon.
The vagina dragon.
I was going to say, so the first time we fought the vagina dragon, I was, dancing around doing some damage to its tail, and then...
Like every time you see a vagina.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, hell that, I'm going through the back door.
Doing some damage to her tail.
And I didn't realize that that monster would, like, jump and land on you and do damage, and it literally, it jumped on me and smushed me, and I died. In one hit, it was like, I was done. Just
crushed by
a vagina. It's like my first sexual experience.
And then you learned for the next time.
Right, yeah.
You gotta run away from those vaginas every once in a while. Because some of them are scary and have teeth.
He's just trying to be gross.
I
gross.
continue to appreciate the design of the, I don't want to say levels, but the world design is designed in such a way that you progress through the game and you open up these shortcuts, and it just makes what could potentially be a really annoying thing of going over and over again a lot easier, because you've got these shortcuts opened up, and I really appreciate the shortcuts. I couldn't.
You're never too far from a reasonable way back.
Right. I really couldn't tell you how frustrated and annoyed I'd be without the shortcuts.
Yeah, it always felt really good to find a shortcut.
Oh yeah.
Now, I asked you earlier about invading people. You said no. What about helping out random people? You got any desire to do that?
Maybe. I'd much rather help out...
To be the hero.
I'd much rather help out friends first until I figure out... I think I'm actually to the point where I can help in Locke's game, and I'm pretty excited about that, because
Because he's been helping you out this entire time.
Yeah, he's been kicking ass.
Now, would you still be playing it if it wasn't for Locke holding your hand?
That's an excellent question. I don't think I would have beaten the gargoyles without his help, and I wouldn't have beaten the Capra demon either.
I would say no, you would not. That is one of the biggest, toughest things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I played, maybe fought him 10 times before I finally got it.
Oh.
That's nothing, HP. I wasted 4 hours on the last boss.
It's
no, I saw you beat the last boss real easily.
Yeah, it was a fluke.
That's how the Capra Demon fight is. If you're by yourself, it's really depending on what he does first. If he comes in swinging at you, you're pretty much done.
I don't think so, because I don't know that I would have let random people help me, so I wouldn't have gotten as
You should, man. It's a real cool thing not being able to talk to somebody else at all and just kind of trying to follow their lead if they're leading or putting some trust in somebody. I don't know. It's just different experiences, and I think that all of them should be experienced.
Yeah, I mean, if you need humanity to, do a few things, you have the option of either being good to some other player or being a real shithead to some other player, and it's a really nice option.
So have you gone out to the forest yet?
The forest? I don't think so.
Okay, you'd know if you did. It's very foresty.
Yeah, with trees and bushmen.
Oh,
it's probably your next stop is the forest.
Yeah, I believe the aforementioned vagina dragon was the last thing that we've done.
You know what's neat? That whole area, the depths, is optional. You didn't have to go there at all.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
So
so
that reminds me. You said what is the neatest thing about it so far? And even though I'm hesitant to buy into the meta game, the neatest thing so far is one the ringing of the bell that other players can hear.
Yep.
That is cool.
That is awesome. And two, in those depths where people were cursed.
Oh God!
You actually
you didn't get cursed, did you?
No, neither of us did. But we actually saw people get cursed, like they pop into your world if they get cursed in a specific spot.
By the frog things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be it. I've been cursed before. It ain't fun, buddy.
I can imagine. So that kind of thing, again, once you allow yourself to the thought that you are not escaping, that you are literally in this world with other people, there are some neat things that they do in the game to kind of bring the characters together, bring all the players together.
Now, is Locke pretty much telling you where to go next, or are you kind of discovering things and he's just following you, make sure you don't die?
Once we got into the depths, I needed his help because
it's a maze.
Yeah, and I'm not very good in subterranean environments. I get kind of turned around pretty easily.
He's scared of caves.
I don't like water.
never taken the subway in his life.
I'll just tell you this, HP. You have no idea how deep that world goes.
Gross.
Incredibly deep.
Gross.
Put her ass to sleep.
Yeah. So that's my Dark Souls. I'd love to be able to get 3 people in. That would be fun. And yeah,
you stay up too late though, buddy.
I'm sorry, honey.
Got a text message from you.
I want to see you play a little bit by yourself. Like now that you know how the game flows, I want to see you try and find the next area you're supposed to go to and see how you should handle it.
I would probably end up going someplace I shouldn't because I know that there are a few paths I didn't take. That's
to the graveyard.
Because we've all done that. Yeah, I went to that graveyard and thought that was the way to go for like a good 2 hours until somebody's like, "Hey, look about that hill. What about that?"
I honestly don't know how that happened to so many people. I thought it was pretty obvious where they were
I just didn't see. I saw like this building and there's a little like fat friar in there. I was like, "Oh, cool. This is where the people at. Let's go." And
this is where the people at.
This is where the people at, man.
A fat friar.
Yeah, the guy that sells you faith spells.
Oh, I was thinking of a
friar.
Like McDonald's.
Yeah. No.
Not a deep fat friar. He was just a fat fuck. All right. Friar.
Yeah.
Friar fuck.
So where do we want to go from here? Do you want to talk, Sonny, a little about Soul Calibur or?
Yeah.
I spent a little time with Soul Calibur 5.
Okay.
Brand new release, fighting game, swords, magic sometimes, but mostly swords.
There's that nerd voice again.
Have you played as Ezio?
Yes, I have, and he's actually a really good fit.
Okay.
That better fit than Yoda and Darth Vader.
Yes, absolutely better. Nothing really spells out the power of the Jedi when you can block a lightsaber with a tambourine. But anyway, Soul Calibur 5 is prettier than the previous one. It's got a few new characters. Some of the new characters kind of feel like BlazBlue, as it's just another character with the same almost moveset.
Yeah, they're running out of weapons to use, really.
Dude, it's a bummer. You look at that character select screen and you're like, oh, look, there's Keelik. Wait, that's not Keelik, but it might as well be.
Dude with the bow staff.
There's Taki. Nope, that's not Taki. That's some other woman, but it's the same person. So that kind of is a bummer to me. I think the big problem was, and I played it a bit with my roommate, local versus action, and when I was done, I didn't really feel like I needed it. I still have Soul Calibur 4, and it's still fun enough. It's just I don't need 5 yet. They should have waited.
So basically, your problem with it is that there's not an innovation in it that makes it
It doesn't bring enough new to the table. It's got a more robust creation system, which I did not dick around with. It's still got a pretty deplorable single-player content. But
I heard the netcode is really good for online play, but that's just going word of mouth.
Yeah, if you're into that, dive in. But for me, I'm unfortunately going to have to wait for a price drop.
Oi.
Because $60 for a fighting game is getting to be kind of a hard pill to swallow unless it is a series that you religiously follow and cannot wait for.
Yeah, we're pushing to a bit of oversaturation in the fighting game market, at least for.
Well, I mean, look at King of Fighters 13. I love King of Fighters a lot, but even I knew, no way I'm buying this at full price because there's just not enough there. And I'm a fighting game fan, so.
Yep, I got it, and I hear they just fixed the netcode today, so I might have to go check that out.
And I love King of Fighters, and that game felt really good. I really like King of Fighters 13, but I don't like it enough for $60. It doesn't give me a solid experience on my own. If I had people over every day, that might be a different story, but I don't. So,
yeah, like back in high school, I would play, fighting games with my friends and my brothers, and it was great. Now, if I really want to play against somebody else, I would have to do it online. And the King of Fighters 13 wasn't.
It just ain't the same.
It's not the same, because you're stuck. Could be possibly fighting some guy that's going to tear your face off.
Wow.
Yep, and there's nothing more frustrating than somebody who beats you that you can't punch in the eye.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done it before in which I was beating up my friend pretty badly, and I let him win a game from time to time. I pick a crappy character and let him win a game. So it's like it's not the same in playing online.
You can never casually play online. That's the problem. You don't just casually play unless you've got friends that are the same way. You can't randomly casually play other people. It's totally
yeah.
close.
I mean, I play Ultimate Marvel with a friend of the show, Snake X, from time to time. But playing it online is completely different.
I can't even play you.
I don't deviate from my characters when playing online. Playing Sunny, we messed around with a bunch of different characters, even though I still
lost.
Yeah, but he played all right. He played well, better than I thought for the worst Marvel player, self-proclaimed worst Marvel player ever. He did pretty well.
I'm 2-20 now.
Hey,
FYI,
that's pretty good.
2-30 if you count your 10 wins.
All right, so that's Soul Calibur 5. So it's not.
I'm telling everyone to pass on this. There's no online pass, so rent away.
Okay.
But no, $60 is just too much, and they brought too little. They brought too little to the game.
Yeah, that would be wrong if a fighting game had an online pass. That would just be fucked up.
You can expect it, man.
So, do you want to talk about our different DLC experiences this week? Do you want me to go first?
What was your DLC experience?
All right, so I got the Saints Row the Third Professor Genki DLC. It's just
what's a Professor Genki?
One of the various mini-games, I don't know, activities? I don't know what they're called in the game.
He's a dude. He's a dude in the game.
But right, one of them is Professor Genki's like super something reality climax or whatever, and it's basically a game, like it's a pretend game show where you go around and shoot dudes.
So a Japanese game show, all right.
Right. So they took this Professor Genki character and they gave you a bunch more of these mini game activities, a couple more.
Before you dive in here, how much does it cost?
It is 560 Microsoft points.
Holy cow, that's like $7.
I think that's $7, something like that.
That is $7.
So it's a couple more of those kind of shooty arena things. And then there's a kind of rolling yarn. It's kind of like the tank attack mode in the normal game, where you're trying to do a specific amount of damage in a specific amount of time. But it's kind of like Katamari in that you're just this ball of yarn and you're rolling over things.
So this is over the top.
Yeah. So it's 4 different new. I'm using quotes for new mini games. So there's that, and then there's one that's kind of like the escort where you're driving Professor Genki around and you have to do a specific amount of damage without having, I think they're paparazzi or fans or something following you closely. And then there's a 4th one where you're jumping out of a helicopter and you're using this kind of flying suit to go through rings and land on buildings.
I'm hearing this kind of wrong, but this doesn't really sound all that fun.
It doesn't sound like $7 worth either.
It was both not fun and not worth $7, and I loved Saints Row the Third. I loved that game. It made my top 5 of the year list.
But there's no story attached to it, right?
No, that's correct. It's all these.
It's just
activities. It's not like Professor Genki needs you to do this because they're just there.
Right. It's supposedly the Genki Bowl. So they did license the, I think it was the Fox or some football show. Maybe it was the Monday Night Football theme song. So it comes in, yeah. Dun, 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 ba-da-da. So they licensed that song for this DLC.
Are you ready for some football?
No.
Not that one.
It's not that one. Yeah. So
that would have been brilliant though, in a way.
He needs work, so that would have been great.
This is very true.
Probably the best part of this DLC. It is really not worth your money. And I wanted a reason to go back to this game, but
this kind of makes you hesitant next time too.
Scares you off, right?
Well, I'm hoping that they actually do some kind of mission content. I would definitely be up for that.
A new minor little faction, maybe.
Yeah, or something. Maybe a new area, like an island somewhere.
Aren't they doing new DLC every day or some shit like that? Wasn't that their plan?
Supposedly they had, I think, like 40 weeks of DLC planned. But I really don't see much of it.
Well,
unless it's like new costumes.
It is. That's a lot of it is new costumes or maybe a new weapon. So I've passed on all of it until this is the first DLC that I bought.
Do they have any other meaty DLC like that has?
No, I think this is the first kind of content add-on that's not a bunch of costumes or weapons or new cars or something.
Man, that's a shame.
Yeah, so stay away from the Genki Bowl DLC. It's not worth your money or your time.
Understood. I will. Will do.
Yeah, so, Sonny, what, you finished off the LA Noire DLC?
Yeah, I finished the other 2 missions, Reefer Madness and Nicholson Electroplating. Reefer Madness makes it sound like it will be funny. It's not really a funny one. It just has to do with Reefer. Was
there any funny mission in that game?
I don't think so.
Every mission was pretty sad and depressing, actually.
Well, I mean, that kind of would have ruined it had it been like that.
Yeah.
But I will say, even though most people preferred Reefer Madness, but I think that's because the people that prefer it are all potheads, I really liked Nicholson Electroplating a lot because it starts out and you see this enormous explosion on the horizon and the whole city's freaking out thinking it was a nuclear bomb because at that time, that's something to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you to go to the ruined part of the city and find clues, which was really cool visually. And, the way they wrote the characters, it was pretty, I don't know, it was a pretty good moment.
Were all the streets empty and everybody was in their house, or?
the streets were empty and covered in ash and dust.
Yeah.
And it was really different compared to the usual crime scenes that you go to, which were very small areas for the most part. This had you inspecting an entire street, for instance. And something weird that happened, and I don't know if I was missing something in particular, or maybe it really is just a strange disconnect. Near the end of the mission, you're shooting people in the military, which doesn't seem right at all.
No,
at all.
Especially
like
with
how
the story is. Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, you're shooting MPs, and it's what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was thinking that there was something I was missing. Maybe these guys aren't MPs, and maybe they're just hired by a dude. But I don't think so. I think they were just doing their job, and I murdered them, which does not feel right.
No.
Yeah, so I think this is the only DLC. I got this DLC because I went to a midnight launch or something. I somehow got this DLC.
Oh, you haven't played it?
And yeah, I did play it, and
so you killed the MPs
I did
too.
kill military police, and for some reason at the time I didn't even think anything of it. I think they had either explained it enough to me, or I was just like, whatever.
Were they like bad people? Were they slinging meth to the kids?
Not to my knowledge. Well, I may have missed one line that was like, and he surrounds himself with his personal bodyguards disguised as MPs.
That would be an
I
important line to hear.
Actually, I think you're right, because don't you go to like a military compound, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are all
like
these,
a little
there are all these MPs in your way, and for all you know, they're just doing their job, and you're just like shooting them all.
We already determined that Cole is bipolar. He's schizo. He just does what he wants sometimes, and maybe he felt like killing some people.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, but I mean, I ran into the same problems I did with the other DLC and the rest of the game, which was the janky interrogation system that never really made any sense half of the time. And stop those guys. They're running. I try to run after them. They turn around and kill me next time. Stop those guys. They're running. I just shoot them in the back. Fuck it.
You don't run on me. You'll never run again.
Strange moments like that where the game's trying to tell you something, but it's really hard to pick up what the hell it exactly wants you to do on the first try. So they were flawed, but they were enjoyable enough. They're certainly on par with the rest of the cases, I would say. Almost like they were cut from the game just to be sold later.
No, who would do that?
I'm just glad that they were $2 a pop, because for $6, getting the full edition of L.A. Noire, which is now $8.99 at GameFly, good lord, that's a pretty good deal. And I say dive in, but they're not on sale anymore. So sorry, Charlie. Anyway, I liked it though. Could have been a lot worse, but it reminded me why L.A. Noire is flawed, but did a lot of things really well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So is that all we've all been playing?
There's something that I also played that's not on the list. I was getting a lot of flack for saying I'll never play Rayman Origins, and I was hearing about how it was going to be the greatest game ever. Shame on you for not supporting this game. It's a wonderful, delightful side-scroller platformer.
Uh-huh.
I've heard that too.
And I rented it. And it's...
Now, time out. You rented it because GameFly sent it to you because you forgot to take it off your GameFly queue.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Don't pretend like you were
the
higher
right.
authority. Like, you know what? I will humor you
with
peons, and I shall play this game.
Well, I do want to make sure that you guys know that I'm not ragging on this game because I wanted to be stubborn. There's something about it that doesn't feel right. Okay. And I think I've pinpointed what
Rayman has no arms or legs.
No, because you can be a stupid frog or some other shit in the game. Any of their dumb characters. Anyway, the thing is, at the beginning of the game, you run and you jump, and that's all you know. Eventually, you learn a hand slap. Eventually, you learn how to sprint, things like that. And that doesn't really work with me. From the beginning, I want to be able to do everything. It's not like a Metroidvania where you get the jump boots and now you can jump higher, or you get the yellow key and you can go through the yellow doors. It's not like that. It's like Mario, if they took away your ability to run for the first world.
And they just
you eventually learned.
Oh, I forgot. I can sprint now.
Or, hey, you'll never pick up a fire flower until the third stage. And now you can actually kill enemies with something. You're like, oh, okay. I think that's what's not working for me in this game.
Do you think it has to do with the way this, like, that there's no, there's nothing in the story that justifies this? Or is it just you want all the gameplay elements right away?
When it comes to a platformer, I want all the elements right away. Like I said, that really is what separates it from Castlevania or Metroid. Those are more of games that are exploration and not a point A to point B level affair like this is. And also, it's supposed to be such a hoot 4-player mode, but it has no online co-op whatsoever. Like, you play one player, and I imagine it's losing a lot of its luster.
There's no online at all?
None.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and for a game that really focuses on that, it's kind of strange. And it doesn't really feel as precise as I like. I like my platformers to be very precise games. Super Meat Boy was a little much, but Super Mario Brothers, I enjoy that. But it just wasn't clicking with me, and for everyone who said, shame on you for not buying it, well, it ain't for everyone, guys.
See, that just seems ridiculous to me in this day and age where everybody's very online focused, that a game would be like, nope, sorry, only local co-op. Jamestown did that, and that was just weird as well.
That was brutal, but I understand why, because any kind of lag can really ruin a shmup.
Yeah, but
not a platform.
Yeah. I mean, you guys...
New Super Mario Brothers Wii did not have online co-op. Everyone said, but it's on the Wii. Of course they don't. What's this thing's excuse?
Oh, so it's... I kind of assumed this game was on the Wii. Okay.
I think it is as well, but I...
You played it on the... Wow. Huh.
Yeah, that's what's really jarring now. 360, I mean, nothing. I mean, the game looks fine. It's got neat little music, but it's just not fun to me to eventually unlock the full potential of a platformer. That doesn't do it for me. The only other thing I've played is Ace Combat Assault Horizon.
You're not going to talk about your cat MMO?
No.
Do you want to talk about Ace Combat?
Ace Combat's about flying sweet jets and shooting off some sweet missiles and get some sweet explosions.
Above sweet jungles.
Also, you can ride in a sweet helicopter with a sweet gun and really blow up some people. The game is for people that like jets and shooting things in the air. I don't like it that much, but it does have online co-op.
Very, very arcadey, right?
Not like Afterburner, but between that and Hawks, it definitely is more casual. You want to tail people, and it's not a very strategic affair, but at the same time, it is basically a shooter in a plane. And I don't know.
It's not like El Strundic 1942 or whatever. That terrible. Yeah.
No, it's not like that. But I don't know. I mean, it's competent, and the online co-op might be what sells it for a lot of people. I think it's cool that they have that in there for a flight game. But I really enjoyed the helicopter missions a lot more than the plane missions. So.
Well, that's because you put some Wagner on. You're like dun 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 over the sweet jungles with your sweet helicopter and your sweet chain gun.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah. Sunrise.
Okay.
Sunrise.
I am almost done with Resistance 3. I'm somewhere near the end. I know I'm close to the end.
As the British people would say, is it tugging on your scrotum?
What British person has said that before?
I don't understand.
Besides the hooker that was dating Jack the Ripper, I mean, what British person has said that before?
Does it have you by a short and curly?
That sounds like Greyhound.
Yes, it does.
I really like Resistance 3. It's a great game. I really enjoy it.
Better than Killzone?
Yeah, again, and I think it has everything to do with the variety of the weapons and being able to level the weapons up and have the leveled up weapons, be able to, are more powerful in one way or another. That's a hook that gets me. Whether that's good or bad in terms of game design is irrelevant because that really gets me. So,
bro, you're really gonna like FF FFXIII-2.
Uh-huh.
You gotta level up your monsters and your weapons.
Gotta catch them all.
Have to catch them all. So, right.
I want to be the very best. No one ever was.
Okay, you're not even singing in your nerd voice, so this means you actually like that song.
That song is awesome. What? That song is...
I used to buy Pokemon tapes on VHS. Fuck you.
That song's the best, and I love the Pokemans. And
you also like the 151 countdown at the end of every episode.
the rap song.
Electro Diglett.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, that's all from me. Doc, did you play anything else this week?
Like I said, I've been playing some more Skyrim. For some reason, I wanted to get the Thieves Guild achievement. I don't know why, because that's one of the hardest achievements I'm assuming to get in the game. Because you have to do a bunch of random bullshit enough to say, hey, the Thieves Guild runs this town now. You have to perform menial tasks of stealing goblets from people's houses, and they don't set it up so this is always going to be a mission in this town. You ask somebody, they give you a random mission, and if it's in a town that you already have completed, well, you have to say, I don't want this mission anymore, randomly get another one, and pray it's in the same town. So it was just a pain in the ass to get that achievement. I don't even know why I did it.
Sounds shitty.
And also, I don't understand why the major boss fights in the game, the dragons, don't engage you. They don't engage you at all. Sometimes they do, but if there's someone else, if there's a guard with a bow 50 miles down, the dragons can see, he'd rather go there than fight me. And I don't understand why.
I understand why, but no one wants to hear it.
Because they're scared of me. That's
they're scared.
Yep, that's it.
They're scared. Don't be scared, Dragon. I'm gonna be your friend.
Sounds good. Okay. Skyrim, is that?
It's
do you?
Time killer. That's what it is. That's how it does.
Where's the Skyrim DLC anyway? What's up? They're not patching the game, so what are they doing?
I think
they're making DLC.
Everyone there has been sacked.
Sure, I'm
pretty sure.
There's been 12 DLC things for Oblivion.
Well, horse armor. I mean, come on.
Knights of the Nine and all that shit.
Yeah, well, they did more expansions, didn't they? The Shimmering Islands, and I thought the Knights of the Nine was more of an expansion. I guess it was DLC. I don't know. I bought the complete edition when I bought it, or the Game of the Year edition, so I don't hear what was what.
Have you played anything else this week, Doc?
Nah, that's about it.
All right.
I'll tell you what I haven't been playing, and neither is Doc. We've been too busy to play the Old Republic, and I feel kind of bad.
I was going to play it the other night. I go to boot it up, it patches, and then I end up doing something else. And
you closed it instead after
I just load screen's still on, and I just closed it.
I feel bad because I like the game still. I'm not bored of it. It's just, for some reason, it's not a priority for me to jump back in.
It's no Final Fantasy 13 too.
Yeah, well, I've really been enjoying Final Fantasy 13 too, though.
Everything people wanted out of Final Fantasy 13 and just didn't get.
Well, and we didn't talk about this earlier. The jump button. Why is this in the game? It's just horrible.
It's there.
And it doesn't even feel right. It's like they just pick up your model.
You jump 2 times the height of your model.
Yeah, it's really stupid. That, and I feel no attachment to the central characters either.
Yeah, I've noticed that. They're just kind of.
But the mechanics make up for it. The battle system's fantastic, and so is the rest of it. So it makes up.
And they're not even going to try and do a love story because one of the main characters is the fiance to one of the main characters of the other game. It's just they're there hanging out, killing dudes. Going through.
I mean, sure, she's engaged to a real fucking dumbass, but other than that,
I mean, there's times where I thought they were gonna hold hands, and no, that didn't happen. I'm like, yeah,
which in a way is refreshing that they're not forcing something like that down your throat.
It kind of feels like it's male protagonist, female protagonist, same age, going on a whole bunch of crazy trips together. It feels like they should include it. I don't know. Maybe because it's so cliched by now, you just assume it's going to be there.
It's pretty cliche, even now. There's a lot of, A goo.
A goo indeed.
A goo.
Oh, that sounds
A goo.
pretty good.
God. That was his O face right there. I know it was.
Okay. All right. So next week, both Darkness 2 and Kingdom of Amalur comes out.
I have.
My roommate's buying Kingdoms of
I have
Amalur.
that on pre-order.
Okay.
Really? You've that taken with
the demo sold me on it. And I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to really get a good play in because I'm working every single day from the release up to the podcast. So we shall see.
Yeah. Get them Happy Meals. Slanging Happy Meals.
Kids like their Happy Meals, dude. They love them.
What are
they
you
make
playing
them happy.
You got anything on your plate?
Yo plate. If I can get my hands on the Darkness 2, I think I would play that. If
You mean just purchase or renty purchase?
Yeah, just a rent.
Yeah, I need to send back Rayman and Ace Combat because they're not really priorities.
What about Never Dead? Anybody going to try and hit that up?
I want to, but I know that I don't want to buy it. I mean, it has you doing cool shit like a monster will bite into your arm and will swallow your arm, and it's still holding a gun, and you take control of that arm and shoot it from the inside while you shoot it from the outside as well.
So it's like Jonah as well.
That's Pinocchio.
No, I get it. Yeah, and I may look into some PC games. GameFly, it has some free downloads of PC games for members that I have not yet explored. So I might try that.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you, HP.
Want me to buy you a game?
Final Fantasy 13-2 has collectibles.
Oh, shit.
And it's not like you can only get them once through a playthrough because you can go back and revisit things. So it's not like you have to play multiple playthroughs to get them all.
Oh, shit. So here's the
you
thing.
can catch all the monsters and then catch all the collectibles.
Here's the thing
it's like
dealing
double
with.
the crack. It's like crack heroin altogether.
Right.
Just
right now is I essentially have like maybe 2 hours every couple nights to play.
Is that why you stay up till 4 a.m. playing Dark Souls?
I did not play until 4 a.m. I was up until 4 a.m., but I was not. Anyway.
Man, you need to quit school.
I need to quit school. So, right.
I mean, just do it. Look at Sonny. He did it.
So taking...
I didn't quit. I was removed.
Oh, okay.
Taking games in little chunks is kind of all I have time for. So that's why I would prefer to pick up like a shooter, at least while I'm in school, because that's something you can pick up and play for like 2 hours and pretty much have a good grip on what's going on.
Yeah, it's a good thing you played Skyrim already, you son of a bitch.
Right? Right?
I'd kill you. I'd kill you if you were playing Skyrim for 150 hours. Did you beat it yet?
No. I'm not gonna have time to play that game until spring break, dude.
And
spring break.
And then you'll just be making more potions.
Right? Making potions.
Well, everyone has to make sacrifices when they want to be successful at something that they believe they're great at, and I'm proud of you.
You are sweet. I would kiss you on the mouth.
For those who don't know, HP does improv comedy, and he takes it very seriously. There's no monkey business in his improv.
So serious, he doesn't get paid for it. So if you want to hire...
He's going to be the next Adam Carolla.
Oh, man.
Because Carolla did the same thing. He sacrificed his personal time to work on his craft. And HP sacrificing his lazy Cheetos time that I am indulging in means that he's going to be successful where I'm not.
His
so,
Hot Pockets and Snack Packs time.
Oh, God, I would love either one right now.
Snack Packs. All right, well, I think we've derailed enough. Are we done with the show, or did you have anything else?
I think that's it for this week.
I think that's the show.
That's the show. Thank you for listening to episode 23 of the Games Only podcast. I've been your host, HP1703.
Thank you to any new listeners on the YouTubes.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to Chip for putting up the video last week.
The quasi-video, the speaking billboard, we'll call it, on the YouTube channel.
No, it's great, and that's something we can post different places, and that's really helpful. Thank you, Chip.
And those 200 and some odd people, thanks for listening.
Right, and or watching. Also, thanks to my co-hosts, Doc in New York.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you to Sonny in Oklahoma.
Hello!
You guys are great. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Hugs.
Kisses.
Bucks.
Tonight.